Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am making a birthday cake, another birthday cake. I have made a few birthday cakes on my channel, or done videos of a few birthday cakes and posted them on my channel. And this one is yet again my grandpa's birthday cake. Tomorrow, when you see this, it'll be a few days later, but he will be turning 90 years old tomorrow. He was born in 1928, so amazing to think about all of the different things that he has gone through in his life. He's 90. He's going to be 90 years old. This birthday cake is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do, and that's why I wanted to do it, because I have been making the typical, cake with buttercream icing, the typical birthday cake. So my cousin gave me this idea. It is a Jello cake. So you make a cake, and in this case I'm going to do the double layer cake. So I already have my cakes made. You can see the lopsidedness there. My oven must be not level, but anyway, they are both like that, so I'm assuming that I can just put one like this and one like this and it'll be even, so we'll see. But I already made the cakes, and I will link above my boxed cake mix hack video. It's a good one, and that's what I used to make this cake. I actually used a white cake mix, but when you add all of the butter, that replaces the oil in that recipe and makes it more of a yellow cake. So, but that's fine. So if you want a white cake, don't use that box cake hack method. Just use use oil instead of replacing the oil with butter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some Jello, and I have some water boiling here on the stove. I'm going to boil 2 cups of water. I'm using 2 3-ounce packs of Jello, and we're going to make Jello, but we're not going to, using the boiling water, but we're not going to add the cold water to it. We are going to just add the boiling water, and then we are going to poke some holes in our cake and then spoon it over the cake. So I'll bring you a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I have 2 small packets of Jello. I'm using strawberry. You could use 2 different colors too, one for each layer. That would be pretty cool. I thought about doing that since his birthday is so close to Christmas. I thought about doing a red and a green, but it is his birthday, so I'll just stick with one color. You could also do like red and blue for Independence Day, all kinds of different things. So I'm just going to pour this boiling water. Ooh, I underestimated the size of that container. And then we're going to make sure this is all nice and dissolved in that water. So it's 1 cup per packet of Jello. All right, I got it all stirred up. Now what you want to do is take your pans, clean them out, and you're going to want to put your cake back into this pan top side down. Just like that. And then I'll do the same with this one here. So top side down. They actually turned out pretty good, even though they're a little lopsided. So then what you're going to do is take a fork, and you're going to poke your cake with some holes. It's also called a poke cake, by the way. Put in the holes a couple inches apart, maybe 1 inch apart. Whoops, I'm kind of doing a little wiggle. to make them a little bit bigger. I want to make sure it soaks down in there. Roll over the entire cake. All right, I got the second one done too. And then you're going to spoon your Jello over each cake. It's hot. And let it soak in. So I'll do half on each cake. And it's already a nice moist cake, but this is going to make it even more moist and yummy. So like I said, this is also called a poke cake. Instead of a Jello cake. But you oftentimes see the poke cakes made in a 9x11 pan, and this is made with 2 9-inch round pans. So when you get your Jello all soaked in to both cakes, you're going to want to refrigerate your cake layers for 3 or 4 hours. And let that Jello soak in and let everything cool before you ice your cake. So I'll bring you back when I get these out of the refrigerator and nice and cooled before I ice them. All right, so now that the pans with the cake and Jello have been in the refrigerator for 3 or 4 hours, I have taken them out and turned them upside down and carefully ran warm water over the bottom part of the cake pan, and they popped right out. So at this point, I am going to use my ever so fancy icing to put in between the layers of this cake, which you can see is Cool Whip. So give your Cool Whip a good stir and make sure that it is completely thawed, because I had a little bit of an issue with that. I should have let my Cool Whip thaw for a couple more hours because I had some colder pieces and it wasn't as smooth as I would have liked it to be. So I am going to put about a cup and a half of Cool Whip on the top of the first layer of my cake. And then you can see again here, I ran warm water over the bottom part of that pan gently so that I didn't get the cake wet, and it loosened it right up and it popped right out. So I'm going to spread more Cool Whip on top, and at this point I am going to get out my angled cake icing spatula and see if I can get this nice and smooth on the top before I start adding more Cool Whip to the edges. So if you don't have an angled spatula, no worries whatsoever. You can use anything with a flat edge, basically. So I hadn't had one of these angled spatulas for a long time, and I finally invested in one. They're not very expensive. I can link one below. They make them in several different sizes, so you can get like a 3-pack that contains like a small, medium, and large angled spatula that you can use for different applications. So now you can see I went back to a regular spatula to cover the sides, and at this point we're just going to get it all smoothed out and looking nice before we start piping our lettering. Now that I have the cake icing as smooth as I can get it, I am going to just take a regular paper towel and clean up the edges. So I'm just going to wipe off the edges as I spin the cake tray and get it all cleaned up. Now I'm getting ready to color my icing and pipe it onto the cake. So I'm using just some regular gel food coloring that I got at Walmart. I decided to use a red color since I used strawberry jello on the inside of the cake so that it would match. Now you want to be careful with how much gel food coloring you add, or you may make your Cool Whip separate and get a little funky. So don't add too much. And you can see this color is not as bright as I would like it to be, but it turned out okay. I'm not a professional, and it was made with love. So I'm going to use a small icing tip here with a plastic baggie. Now, if you don't have any cake icing tips, no worries at all. Just take your plastic baggie and snip off a tiny part of the corner to make yourself a thin piping tool. Now I am going to freehand happy 90th birthday grandpa onto this cake. Sometimes I get a little excited and I want to just do it, and I don't slow down and think about it as much as I should, but it turned out fine, and it always does. So I am adding some balloons, you can see, to the top there to fill in some space, and I am going to also add some balloons around the outside. And lastly, I added a border around the bottom edge of the cake using a star tip, just with plain Cool Whip. It adds a little detail and also hides any imperfections there at the bottom. So this is the final product. Now remember, you need to store this in the refrigerator because it does contain Cool Whip icing, so it will melt. So store it in the fridge. My grandpa absolutely loved this cake. He was thrilled with it. I think it was his favorite birthday cake so far. So happy 90th birthday, Grandpa. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have tried this cake or if you plan on trying it. I highly recommend it. It is a wonderful recipe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!